Welcome back, guys. So let's continue on with my Sinister 6 rankings, which is 6 franchises, 50 movies, and it is an extension of Drum Dum's 31 on 31, which he did and a lot of other group members did of his group, where they ranked the Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street franchises together. And we're going to do that, but add 3 more franchises, kind of an extension thing, where we are adding Child's Play, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Scream. And this will be my part 2, and part 1 has been up for a while, so check out my part 1, which is numbers 50 through 41. And this one will be numbers 40 through 31. And starting out with number 40, it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. And I'm kind of ashamed that this is kind of this low, because yeah, it's a horrible movie, but honestly, I love this movie. I love how entertaining this is. The entertainment factor in this is spot on and awesome. Matthew McConaughey is awesome. Darla is awesome. Like, these characters are so fun. Renee Zellweger is actually a good actress in this movie and actually a good final girl. But this movie just has so much batshit stupid stuff in it that people hate it. And I completely get why. I'm not saying in any reason why I'm trying to defend it for that. But I love it. I think it's a fun, stupidly entertaining time. Like, it is so horrible, but it is so entertaining. That's why it's my number 40. I just wish it was up a little higher because of the entertainment value. And then my number 39 would be Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 6. This one has some of the best cinematography in the franchise. It's got, it truly is, and gore as well. Even though the first one wasn't a gory movie, like, the gore in the sequels, like, this is some of the best gore overall. And this one has like 2 different versions where they've both got good things and bad things about each of them. So, but this one suffers from, like, really just being kind of, honestly, in terms of like a theatrical movie, it is theatrical in how it looks, but characters, story, it just feels so like it doesn't matter. Like, they kill off Jamie Lloyd in the beginning of the movie, a character from Halloween 4 and 5 who was incredibly important, and they kill her, make her character sag scale, and replace her with another actress. Replace Danielle Harris with another actress, which is really unfortunate. And Paul Rudd is in this, who is really interesting in his first role. He really doesn't, he doesn't do a bad job, but he's very odd in this movie. He's really weird. And this one, besides the good gore and the cinematography, this one really suffers from being just pretty lame for other reasons. But I do enjoy this one. I can still watch this one. It's just really low because of that. And then my number 38, funny enough, is another Halloween sequel right before this, Halloween 5, which is, to me, in terms of ranking like the Halloween films, like this one and part 6, my number 39, were hard to choose because they both have good things about them, but they have bad things about them. I think that this one has some good, effective moments. That moment in the laundry chute is incredible. I like Tina as a final girl. I really do. I think she's actually really great. But I hate that they kill off Rachel. I hate that this movie is really by the numbers in this one. Whereas Halloween 4 brought back Michael Myers again, and they did it to where people think it's, a lot of people think Halloween 4 is just as like the best sequel after the first one. Not everybody, but a lot of people do, and I think it is one of the best sequels. But Halloween 5 is, to a lesser extent, a worse version of the last movie, like Halloween H2O to Halloween Resurrection, where Halloween H2O was kind of a return to form in terms of performances. In Resurrection just fucked that thing over. And then in this one, it does the same thing where they kill off Rachel, and they make this movie just more by the numbers and stupid. So it's not as bad as Halloween Resurrection, but it still is bad. But it's got good, creepy moments in it. Like I said, there are some really effective moments, some fine gore in it. It suffers from a lot of things. That's why it's hard to choose between part 5 and 6, but that's why it is my number 38. And then, number 37, a controversial opinion, I guess, is Seed of Chucky. I enjoy this movie. I think it's fun. I don't care. I like these characters. I like the silliness of it. Honestly, out of the big horror franchises, this is the only one where we've got a rapper in it that I like, as opposed to Halloween Resurrection or like Leprechaun, Back to the Hood, like stuff like that, where This one, for some reason, just it stuck with me more because Chucky, in essence, even before Bride of Chucky, he was still a comedic character, and this is just all humor, like Freddy's Dead, and that pisses a lot of people off. But to me, I still thought this was entertaining. I still like these characters. I didn't mind Glenn. I thought he was just a weird character, but I liked that purpose of the character. Like, what is he? Like, he doesn't understand. And I did like some of the jokes. The jokes were funny, but it's not. It's definitely the weakest of all the Chucky films, but I think it still is a fun time. And Jennifer Tilly again sells it as Tiffany, and as herself, this stuck-up version of herself, which I think is really funny, especially considering she's playing herself. So this does have a lot of good humor in it, and it's just not as much of a horror movie at all. Like, it's really just a comedy, which pisses a lot of people off, so I understand that. But I like the jokes, I like the characters. I don't mind this one. That's why it's my number 37. And then my number 36 would be Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Now, this one, in terms of creativity, gets a lot of points, because this one, if you watch this after watching the first 8 Friday the 13th movies, you think, why is Jason just gone? And of course they had to do this because of rights issues, but I really like the fact that this movie is its own thing. Like, it's Jason is in the movie, but he is body swapping. And I think that is a very unique idea for this franchise, even though it's been done in other movies. I really like that. I actually didn't mind these characters. I didn't mind the acting. I didn't mind Jason Goes to Hell. I thought it was totally serviceable and fine. And in terms of uniqueness, it works for the franchise, but it pisses a lot of people off again because it's different. So that's why it's my number 36. It's not great, but it's not awful. And then my number 35 would be the weakest Scream movie for me, which is Scream 3. This one feels like how the first two Scream movies were very clever for me and interesting, and how they turned the idea upside down of like horror movie tropes. And in this one, this movie just feels like an actual parody of the Scream movies, like the first two, because yeah, you've got Sidney and Dewey and Gale back, but Sidney's not in the movie much, and it's about these other characters with Dewey and Gale on set of a stab movie, like the in-movie universe movie, so it already feels like parody, where the plot is like these characters are getting killed off on a movie set. It just feels very like, it doesn't work for me. And the characters, most of them, the new characters, are the most forgettable ones in the franchise. I think that some of them are fine. I don't remember, honestly, rewatching it I've seen it so many times. Watching all these new characters, the actor characters, they're not interesting. Jenny McCartney's not interesting. Parker Posey is kind of fun, but like, she's not that interesting. And the other characters as well, like the actors who play Sidney in the movie, like they don't have much to them. They're not smartly written or interesting. And the villain at the end of the movie, the killer, while the backstory is good, this killer is on screen, like, the character's on screen for like one scene in the movie, 2 scenes, and it feels so far-fetched, spoilers for Scream 3, that the killer is Sidney's half-brother, and this guy initiated everything. And in story form, it sounds fine, but it just seems so far-fetched to me that I don't really think that it works. So Scream 3, while it does have Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox and Dave Arquette in it, they're all good. Everything else is just not that good. It's just really forgettable. And it feels like a parody of its own universe, in my opinion. Just being on the set of a movie within a movie with these actors playing each other. It's dumb. It doesn't, like, I don't hate it, but I just don't really like it. I'll watch it if I watch the Scream movies. Of course I will watch it, because I marathon them. I will definitely watch it, but it's not definitely my least favorite Scream movies. Or definitely my least favorite. And then my number 34 would be Rob Zombie's Halloween. This one, I give it credit again for being interesting for the first 40 minutes. Whether it works or not, he makes this movie its own for the first 40, 50 minutes. And then the other half of the movie is the first movie again, but a more violent movie. And with elements of Laurie being Michael's sister in the movie, as opposed to being in Halloween 2. And the performances are good, they're fine. Just the writing is awful. Like, Rob Zombie has, the way that he writes these characters, I know he uses the reasoning of like, oh, these characters are horrible, but just saying like but saying fuck every like 2 words just to me doesn't seem like good writing. It I mean, I understand his point and what he's trying to do, but I don't like the writing in this movie, or mostly in the second one, or in most of his movies. And I do like Rob Zombie as a person. He seems like a cool guy, but like I don't like his writing. That's one of the biggest negatives of the movie. So this one, but I do love the fact that this movie he does make it his own, whether you like it or not. It is very unique. It's unique, but it's also the same, because the first 50 minutes is a new movie with young Michael Myers, and then the rest of the movie is the first movie again, but brutal. But I do love the fact that this movie continues on where the first one ended, where Laurie goes back into the house, Michael chases her, they're on the balcony, Michael runs at her, they both fall into the ground on the pavement. She shoots him in the head and screams, and that's how it ends. I thought that was incredible. Like, I love that. But that doesn't make up for like some things I don't like about it. So that's why it's my number 34. And then my number 33, again, another Halloween movie bunched together with the other one, is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, this one, I love Scout Taylor Compton in this movie. I think that she actually is genuinely, like, she's got a fantastic performance in this. The way that this character actually is written, I think, is really good, because this character is descending down this spiraling, like, pit of madness. Like, she is going insane. Because she survived the events of the first movie, she is going literally insane, and I love the fact that nothing can help her, and she literally is losing all her sanity, and it's just, every scene I see her in, I think she just, it breaks my heart, honestly, watching this character, because Scout Taylor Compton is so good in this movie. Honestly, good enough to where I don't feel like the movie deserves it, because the movie still, like the first one, has stupid writing, horrible writing. It's got dumb characters that are there just to be killed, and I know, before you say anything, it's a horror movie, I know, but it's just they're so unlikable again, and I know it's purpose to make them unlikable on purpose, but again, just saying shit like, what up, dick, like shit like that, it's so stupid and annoying. And I'm not a prude, I just think that his way of writing stuff is, the only way I could write it is just to write it being vulgar. There's nothing else to it. So that's why I put Halloween 2 a tad above Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. I think that Scout Taylor Compton makes this movie, but everything else is just pretty not good or forgettable. So, but also having Dr. Loomis change, like, I liked how horrible he became of a person. Like, I liked how instead of becoming a better person, like, he becomes a horrible rich asshole. Like, I like that too. And so that's my number 33. And then my number 32 would be Child's Play 3, which is one I think is underrated, but not one that deserves to be like the best Chucky movie. It's, again, my second to least favorite overall. It's weird because this one came out 9 months after the second one. Don Mancini was literally forced into writing this one 9 months after the first one, or after the second one happened. He started writing the movie, and 9 months later the movie came out. So literally a 9-month gap, not even a year gap between the 2 and 3, really hurt this movie, because this movie in some ways is kind of cliched, besides the fact that Chucky is in a military school trying to get Andy. It's cliched in the military stuff, like the military stuff is just there and bland and boring. But I do like these characters. I do like Andy. I do like how Justin Whalen played him. I thought he was a good replacement for the time. And I liked Kirsten De Silva, Perry Reeves, and I liked Tyler. I didn't mind Tyler. I like that Chucky went after a new kid. I like that they at least changed the movie up a little bit. And the military setting is cool. It works. I think that it does work, but it's just kind of boring with the military stuff, and it's kind of bland. But the gore is good, the gore is effective, but it just suffers from being kind of forgettable. The ending, though, really great for the third film in the trilogy, where you thought it would be the end for a while, because there was a 7-year gap before Bride of Chucky came out, so a lot of people thought this was the end, and then Bride of Chucky came out and started it over again, which is awesome. But this one had a great ending. The military stuff is pretty boring, but I like the characters. I like the gore. It's kind of underrated, but not super highly praised for me. Like, I think it's good. I think it's fine. It's my second to least favorite, though, overall in the Chucky films, but I still enjoy it. And then my number 31 would be A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Now, I really like Alice in this movie. I think Alice is a great new final girl. I thought she was really cool. And even in part 5, which I don't like that much, I like her in it. And I like the kills in this. I thought the kills were very unique. Like Freddy, like, literally taking the air out of the girl who has asthma. Shit like that is so cool. And I like these characters. I like the fact that that Alice has this story where like they kill off all the surviving characters of part 3, which is unfortunate, but they take like an hour to do it, and I like how it takes that long to kill them off, because they don't just do a Halloween Resurrection and in the first 20 minutes they die. They wait like half the movie and then they all are dead. But I really liked Alice, and I liked how this character, who has this story arc of at the beginning of the movie, she doesn't want to look at herself. She doesn't like the way she looks. And her mirror is covered up with pictures of all her friends. And as they get killed, she gains their power because of their love for each other and their friendship. And it sounds cheesy, but it works really well with this character. And I love her arc. And I really like Freddy. He's entertaining. He's funny. This is the first one where he really started getting comedic. But not to the point of Freddy's Dead. But he did start becoming comedic in this one more. And visually, this one's really cool. Has some great visuals. Has some great flair to it. It just has a great personality. And Rennie Harlan directed this one, and you can tell he's got a fun style. So I really like Nightmare 4, The Dream Master as well. It's underrated, honestly. I think I do like it a lot. It's just not my favorite Nightmare movie, but I do enjoy it. So that would end my my part 2 of ranking the Sinister Six. Next week, I will have numbers 30 through 21, part 3. So stay tuned for that. Tell me down below how you feel about my rankings, and thank you guys so much for watching.